Hi everyone. So I'm here today to speak a little bit about hydrogen, natural hydrogen. But let me share first an experience I recently had with a journalist. The journalist asked me, why Manu, that's the way people call me, Manu. Why Manu, you are still optimistic with hydrogen? Nobody believes in it anymore. The proper answer is about being a geologist, right? And let's start with those numbers. The demand is there already. They are all questioning if there could be a demand in the future for clean hydrogen. Of course, I mean, the demand is already there. That's boosted by industry already. We need that for steel industry, we need that for refining, multiple industries, right? And that's a proper way to decarbonize the economy. And that's what Europe needs by 2030, 20 million tons. We are far from doing this very clean. Well, the main reason to fail this revolution is actually because it's too expensive. Let's take a look on this graph, right? If you compare the cost of carbon-intensive solution to make hydrogen versus a clean one, you get a green premium. Who wants to pay that premium? That's really difficult, right? There is a new one in the room that geologists know since decades and decades that it's actually flowing from the ground. That's a reality. You can visit the field and find the bubbles flowing at the surface, right? It's the natural hydrogen one. Still very complex to get a real price of production, but you don't need to manufacture it. So that's super, super cheap, right? So my name is Emmanuel Masini, and my aim is to revolutionize clean hydrogen by getting this opportunity led by nature. $1 per kilogram, or €1, we're in Europe, right? The first good news that I have to give you today is like it's everywhere. If you are just making a review of the different locations all around the world, people get just the information, and that's already described, that you can get hydrogen flowing at surface super pure, more than 80% pure. So it's everywhere. The real problem is actually how you can find it, right? Because the way it is generated by nature is really, really simple. There are different ways, but the most efficient one is actually taking a piece of rock, which is full into iron, very rich in iron. You put water with it, it gets oxidized, and it generates hydrogen by nature. Good conditions, and you get it. And if you take care about this reaction, which is self-organization reaction, okay, you do not use electricity, you do not need carbon, right? And if you leave nature doing the job, literally, natural self-organization, you do not need to use fresh water neither. But the issue is, so far, it was found by accident or by reusing oil and gas dataset globally. And potentially oil and gas basins are not the one to explore to get this hydrogen at the surface. At Mantle8, what we were doing was to clarify what are the geological conditions we need to find to make that real. We call this the geological trifecta. What we want is to get the perfect piece of rock, right condition, at depth, temperature, pressure, connected naturally with water, okay, making this generation naturally ongoing, and connected to a reservoir that you can produce, because no reservoir, no production. Oil and gas people know that, right? Then let's get inspired by what oil and gas industry just delivered across a century of technological improvement. At the beginning, people were just focusing on what they can see at the surface, leakage, right? They have no ideas about how to explore, no technologies. And progressively, seismics arrived, modeling, numerical modeling, right? You can predict it. And DHI, direct hydrocarbon indicators, a way to directly, by technology, image where you get a reserve. So that's where oil and gas industry is today. And the issue is like, if you compare this with natural hydrogen, we are not there yet, right? Most of the people just rely on what they see at the surface, like just being at the beginning of the 20th century. What we are doing at Mantle8 is just delivering a tech stack based on 20 years of research to scale this exploration and being predictive. That's about locating, defining the place where we can match this trifecta, being able to quantify the quality of a piece of rock, and being sure that this one is active, just by technology. I have another good news for you guys. We already have an exploring in this zone, which is just EMEA region, 12 different locations where we already measure amazing indication of hydrogen. And we are deploying our technology already. This is the kind of thing we are already getting by applying the first release of our technology. This is the kind of models we got. You can scan those rocks at depth. You can be sure that those rocks are there, good conditions, and associated with those measurements of hydrogen. And when you are making all of the potential revenue you can get from this with production reservoirs, we are speaking about billions for one prospect. And this is sourced by a team. We're already 15, and my aim across the year is basically to make this number twice. So now let's project the company in the future. So what we have right now is just, we completed our seed round. It was about backing, proving the technology, being able to replicate that in different geographical locations. And we're happy to attract Breakthrough Energy Ventures in the room, as well as Kiko. Thank you guys, because we did that already. Next step gonna be about getting the portfolio developed in Europe and deliver that revolution as fast as possible, because climate is not waiting. Thank you.